my number 5, I'm gonna actually start with Shannon Sharp.
Ooh.
So yeah, man, I think Shannon Sharp had a great career, bro. Like especially helping the Baltimore teams. Yeah, 3-time. I'm sorry, Denver and Baltimore, and he's 3-time champion. I mean, I had over 10,000 yards, 62 touchdowns. Like, bro, he had a hell of a career.
I got Kellen Winslow, the original.
How about the son or the father?
Definitely.
Man, the problem with his son, man, is like you can't find nothing about his dad because the son, man, like his dad did great things, man, and it went on
He
to do
fell
great
off.
things.
He got into a lot of trouble.
Yeah, but I'm
That
talking about the dad. I'm saying like it's hard to find because the dad did a lot of great things, and then after his career did a lot of great things, and it's too bad that like it's hard to find those stories because like every time you type in Kellen Winslow, like everything about his son comes up. Um, but yeah, man, Kellen Winslow for me, number 5. He in a way they say certain guys redefine the position. Like this guy defined the position, man. Like there were 1,000-yard tight ends here and there, but no one did it, 2 or 3 times and at the level he was. So I'm gonna say Kellen Winslow.
I'm gonna say Antonio Gates. He wasn't the fastest, but he was a big body, former basketball player. And he could catch. He wasn't outrunning you, but
You gonna grab that boy though.
yeah, he you might get mossed. That's for sure.
Yeah, he could jump though.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. He just can outrun you from him. But
Number 4, well,
Oh well, yeah. My number 4, I got Mr. Even though I don't like this team so much, but I respect this man, Mr. Jason Witten. So I say Jason Witten is my number 4. I mean,
statistically, he deserves to be up there. I don't have him in my top 5, but statistically, yeah.
And that's why I'm giving it to him statistically wise. You know what I'm saying? I hate to be that guy, but I mean, numbers talk. So I mean, he put up the numbers at over 12,000 yards, 72 touchdowns. So.
And he wasn't a big scorer, but he got yards and like he just played on Dallas, man, and they just never made it past the first, second round, hardly ever.
And then he really played on the times when Mr. Romo, I love you somewhat, but I mean, bro, Romo just couldn't really get it done, man. He couldn't get it done.
Romo years were years you could have put up a lot of stats though, and this guy still didn't score a lot, so that's why I kept him out of my.
But that's what I'm saying. He was a stat sheet stuffer in the regular season, but it just nothing could really collab in the playoffs though. Like
I actually have Antonio Gates at my 4. I think he was. I take him over your guy just by a hair, but but then again, I have Winslow ahead of him too. But I think Gates was there. I mean, this like you said, this is a guy who played basketball before. He could jump. I remember all the dunking it over the goalpost when he scored. Like this guy was legit, man. When Antonio Gates was on the field, like he was a threat. Even late in his career, man, he was so good. Like it just never ended for him. So I got Antonio Gates at 4.
okay, my 4. I'm gonna say the coach, Mike Dick.
That's fair.
Yeah, and then coach turned head coach, won a Super Bowl. How many tight ends you see do that?
Yeah, I'm with you, but I don't give him credit for his coaching career. I don't even have him in my top probably 8, but
hell, stop.
That don't count toward your tight end stats. I'm just
All right. You're right.
He ain't top 8 for me, but I mean, hey, you stick with your guy.
No, but for real, he was a problem back in the day. They was calling him Iron Mike because people didn't want to see him in an open field. They like
one of the things we just talked about is like he was one of the first guys to have 1,000 yards as a tight end. Like it was mind blowing back then.
Yeah, especially in that time, when running backs pretty much ran it. So especially here with Gale Sayers and those guys, you still being productive even with that running back, you're doing something good.
Number 3, this is where I got my guy GRONK. I think he deserves this because of his playoff ability. His playoff, and I agree, being able to play with Brady ups your playoff stats, but he was great in the playoffs. He wasn't, it's not like he was just there and he played a lot of games, so he racked up a lot of stats. He was great in the playoffs, scored a lot in the playoffs. And because of that, and with his obviously regular season stats, I have him here at number 3.
What you got, Walt?
I actually got Antonio Gates at 3. Just pretty much based off, what you guys said. Basketball turning to football. You throw it up there, he grabbing it. It's just unfortunately, he had to play on the Chargers that weren't really doing so well at the time he was there, but he was still putting up the numbers. But he just really couldn't get it done. So, but yeah, like I said, I'll say he's definitely my number 3 for sure. And yeah.
Say my number 3, Tony Gonzalez.
Ooh, okay. The disrespect with this one.
You didn't even listen to the other two. What the hell?
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah. Hey, yes, that's a little. It's top
3.
3, I guess. It's top 3.
I didn't say number 6.
All right.
Damn. No, but seriously, Tony, he was Kansas City for a long time. When you thought of the Kansas City Chiefs, it was Tony and Larry Johnson for a couple seasons, but mainly Tony. And he had 15,000 yards. He had 111 touchdowns. That's
we're talking about up there with T.O. and Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. He wasn't a big touchdown guy, but he was above average. He was about 6 to 9 a year.
Mm-hmm.
But yardage, man. 8 yards.
His lowest yards in receiving was his first year. That was 360.
He didn't start a single game that year either.
Even his last in Atlanta, he still had like 859. Like,
and he played in Atlanta on like Matt Ryan's worst 4 years too. So,
last 5 years. Well, Matt Ryan's worst 5 years. Yeah. But imagine him with like a Julio and a Roddy White.
It actually feels like it would have been tougher to get yards with those guys, but yeah, I mean he's still
but you got to think who you gonna double cover.
Yeah, prime TG with those guys,
and then you can't put 8 in a box because then you putting your linebacker 1-on-1 with Tony Gonzalez, or your corner 1-on-1 with Julio. It's like, bruh, pick your poison.
Number 2, I got Shannon Sharp. Man, this man was insane. It's just he doesn't have the overall stats, but he had some down years here and there. But when he was healthy, Shannon Sharp was unstoppable, man. Like he really was a receiver. At like we talk about receivers, he was legit a receiver, man. He had more speed than most of these guys, and he had the ups. It's debatable whether he had the hands that these other guys had, but still, like he had the athleticism that a lot of these guys didn't have, and he was a threat every time when he was healthy. So I got Shannon Sharp at 2.
Well, I actually got Mr. Tony Gonzalez at 2. I got him at 2, man.
I want to know who he got at number 2.
I got
Shannon Sharp. I got Shannon Sharp.
He got at number 1.
He got Shannon Sharp at number 2.
All right, what you got? Why is it Tony Gonzalez number 2?
I mean, just based off everything my boy Nico just said. You feel me? Like he's definitely going up there to grab it, and Tony Gonzalez put up the numbers. Like you said, 111 touchdowns. Like he's pretty much like another receiver. So, like I said, but unfortunately, he was with Kansas City, and they were definitely not doing good at that time. So, he was just able to still put up the numbers. And
Trent Green tried his best.
He tried, but it wasn't the greatest performances at all. So I mean, but hey, he's still one of the top tier tight ends of all time. So
who you got, Nico? Number 2.
Shannon, gotta be. He at home. He was probably before Vernon Davis the first home run hitter at tight end. Like, if he gets some space, you might not catch him. And he's only like, what, 225, 215, 225? Playing tight end.
He was fast.
having to block D ends every other play.
When
And
most
then
tight ends flip the ball, the announcer will usually use the word rumble, like rumble, big man, rumble, or watch him rumble. When Shannon Sharp caught the ball, boy, he didn't rumble, he flew, man. He had wheels, like they,
100%. No, but seriously, like Shannon, he was a small tight end that could, he had to do both. He had to block those big D ends, and he also had to outrun your best corner, your best linebacker, best safety. And then, you got to think he was blocking for Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis rushed for 2,000 yards one of them years. Like, and you only a 220-pound tight end? Like, come on, bro. You put in the work. You
I
put
mean,
in
he's
the work.
strong, man.
Work here. He put that work in. For
Oh,
sure.
yeah. He definitely got that. He's got that down south strength. They say you never supposed to fight a man from the south. They got that other strength. So we ain't gonna never fight John because he got that other strength.
Okay.
And he got the long arm. Well, go ahead, Walt. What you got?
Yeah, tell us why it's Ozzie Newsome. Go ahead.
My number one, of course, is definitely I'm gonna say Rob, bro. Like just because off of playoff performances, bro. I'm big on playoff performances, and I'm big. Like I said, I'm really big on playoff performances. So I want Rob. He put up 4 Super Bowls. Like I said, even though it was with Tom Brady, but at the same time, he was a red zone threat, and I feel like that's key. Being a red zone threat, and like I said, throwing it up there, he's going to get it. So Rob is my number one.
You going, John, or you want me to go?
I go. I mean, you guys know who mine
Hey,
is.
don't be talking about no Mark Andrews just because he went to Oklahoma. God.
Okay, y'all know who mine is. It's Tony Gonzalez, man. This man, when we talk about these guys, what did most of them have? Well, Shannon Sharp had John Elway for most of his career. Gronk had Tom Brady for most of his career. Gates had Philip Rivers for most of his career. This guy had Elvis Gerbach,
The hell I got to do with him?
Rich Gannon for like half a year. He had Trent Green. He had Damon Heward, Tyler Thigpen, and then he had Matt Ryan in his worst 5 years. Those were his quarterbacks.
Okay, wait. Hold on. Now that you're saying that, are you saying DeAndre Hopkins is one of the best receivers in the game then?
I still believe I mean, if DeAndre Hopkins is healthy, I still believe he's top 3 receiver in the game.
No, that ain't what I asked you. Do you think he's the best in the league? Because he's had a lot of quarterbacks too. He was still productive year in and year out.
But this guy has more touchdowns and yards than all the other guys too. He didn't just play with 7 different quarterbacks.
He was the only guy to throw to. Ain't nobody else to throw to.
I'm just saying.
Him or nothing.
Okay, well, guess what? It was him a lot, and teams double teamed him a lot, and he still came through. That's all I'm saying. This man played with, and these. I didn't say Tom Brady. I didn't say John Elway. I didn't say Dan Fouts. I said Elvis Gerbach. I said Damon Heward, Tyler Thigpen, and a couple good years from Trent Green.
All of them went to Oklahoma. That's your fault.
Yeah. Well, because of that, and being able to put together, we're talking about 15,000 yards. We're talking about top 4 all time. We're talking about up and company with T.O., Randy Moss, and Jerry Rice. That's it. And to do it with the quarterbacks he did it with, no, for me, Tony Gonzalez is the clear cut number
also
1.
have Matt Ryan, but what do I know?
Yeah. So Matt Ryan might be comparable to Philip Rivers, but not John
Damn,
Elway
is that what you're trying to say?
He's not Tom Brady, and he ain't.
What you trying to say,
John Elway. So
even though Tom Brady throwing the ball, you still got to catch the damn ball though.
Right? Come on, bro.
Regardless of who's the quarterback back there.
If anything, New England is more of a system thing than anybody.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Those guys had Tom Brady throwing to them, and they still caught fewer balls, fewer touchdowns, fewer yards than this guy did.
Dude, he played like 18 seasons.
It don't matter. Wait, but name me the season that he ever took off. Name me the season he ever took off. Go look at his career. 16 games, 16 games, 16 games, 16 games, 16, 15, 16, 16, 16, 16. It was always that way. The dude was consistent. And for that, that's another reason why he is the greatest tight end of all time for
He
me.
played 16 years.
I mean,
It don't
unfortunately,
matter.
If
Gronk-
Gronk, all right, so you're telling me if Gronk played 16 years, come on, bro. We
No,
all
here's
know
what I'm saying.
it's
Here's
slashed
what I'm
them
saying. If Tony Gonzalez played with Brady, he has 5 rings. That's all I'm saying.
He already got 7. What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying TG. I'm saying Tony Gonzalez has 5.
Oh. Whatever.
everybody entitled to their own opinion, man.
Right, yeah. And number one got to
It's
be
not
Gronk.
close. It's not close for me. It's Tony Gonzalez by a
It
landslide.
got to be Gronk. It got to be Gronk.
You got to get to the playoffs for me, man.
He dominated in New England for crying out loud. What
And
other
And
offense?
they
Wait,
also
wait, wait,
won the
wait.
Super Bowl without him.
Let me ask my question. What other offensive player outside of Randy Moss dominated in New England?
Wes Welker.
He didn't dominate.
He averaged like 1,200 yards a season.
He
when
was
there.
efficient. He didn't dominate.
No. Those are better numbers than Randy Moss was putting up almost. What do you mean?
And technically, Randy already had he only had like one good year.
And that was only in touchdowns. Wes Welker still had more catches and more yards than him that year.
No matter. 23 touchdowns. Can't beat it.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying, Wes Welker. You just said who? I named you a guy, and now you're trying to act like you did it. Put up 1,200 yards a season.
Are you sure about Wes?
Yes, Wes torched him up there. What are you talking about?
Look, we're gonna just agree to disagree. Gronk is I ain't gonna say he's the GOAT tight end, but he's definitely like 1 or 2.
Definitely, I agree.
1 or 2. And then he was playing with that big ass cast on his arm for like 5 seasons. How are you able to maneuver and catch and block and all that with that thing? He made it work. And
I might have actually been able to help him block with that big old thing on his arm, to be honest.
And then Tom hit his line like, "Hey, I'm going to Tampa. I need you to come with me." And then he caught 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, man. Has Tony ever made it? No, I'm just playing. I ain't gonna do that.